Hello, hello. Hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Welcome to the stream. Let's get this loaded up. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. We are streaming live to YouTube and Twitch right now, so feel free to join us on either. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let's turn up the, yeah, there we go. I think that's good. How's it going, everybody? Hey, Mahan. Hey, Wing Hong. Welcome in. Hope you guys are doing good. Welcome. All right, today we're going to be working on the project today. I want to really grind away here and get a lot done. Yeah, so we're going to get in a work session in today. So chat away with me here as I get to work. Pull out whatever you guys got to work on. If you guys got homework, if you guys got stuff to study for, test coming up, now is the time. Don't procrastinate that. Get your stuff done. Get your stuff out of your bag. Pull it out now. What you guys got working on tonight? We got school tomorrow on Monday. So you guys, you know you got stuff to do coming up. Let's get into this. Okay, so we're working on the transactions page right now. So let's see here. So work on the transactions page. This is gonna be this is our CS50X final project for those that are in here for the first time. Thank you guys so much for being here. Okay, so the transactions page, I worked on it a little bit this morning. So what I did was I worked on this add transactions function, add transaction to transactions, where we get all of the information from the entry boxes and combo boxes, and then we have to validate that information. So we need to incorporate these check sale platforms and check transportation method into business. Right, so let's go to the business class. Right, we need to have checks here for, so these are going to be expense categories, expense methods, sale, transaction platforms, transportation methods. Okay, so we probably will have to update some stuff here. So let's go to the transactions tab. We need to go to the expenses tab actually, really quickly, and then update that information. So we're getting the categories here. This is going to be expense categories, and then we're getting methods here as expense methods. And then what else did we change? We added platforms on the transactions page, so we get platforms here above, right? Platforms. This can be transaction platforms. Transaction platforms. Let me go Control Z that. Let me go here. Rename symbol. Change all occurrences. Transaction platforms. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is we are gonna try to, how's the music, you guys? Let me know if you want it louder or not. Or my voice, let me know if you need it turned down. Let me know. Appreciate you guys for being here. Welcome in. Happy Sunday, March 30th, you guys. What you guys studying? Let me know what you're working on. Today we're just jumping right in, doing work on the CS50 final project. It's Sunday, so I want to just crack in and just get some work done on this. A grind session here. Pause. Okay, so we're in our add transactions. We're checking date. We check item ID in the database. We have cost in the auxiliary functions. we check the sale platform for the validity within the business object. So we need to write this function for check sale platform. So this is not going to be this is going to be check transaction platform. Right. So this is going to be transaction platform then. Right. Equals to this. We'll go here. Transaction platform. Right, and that puts that there. So we need to go to our database add transaction function and change that to transaction platform here. Right, there we go. Okay. So now, right, this is where I stopped on, was writing this function here. So we're executing insert into transactions, these columns here, right? And we're just inserting the item into there. But I stopped on that because what I wanted to do was, we're checking for a duplicate via this check duplicate transaction. But the thing is, the check duplicate, all it needs to do is take in an item number and an ID, because you can't sell an item twice. That's the only thing that would signify a duplicate. Okay, so we need to, let's do a sticky pad. Let's open up a new note. Let's say to do. Number one is going to be the check transportation or transaction platform. Number two is the check transportation method. Number three is the check duplicate transaction. And then number four is going to be the populate matrix via duplicate. And then number five is going to be the add transaction to transactions. So these are the 5 functions we need to write to get this function, to get this overall function to work. Hey Tanmay, how's it going, dude? Welcome. We're working on our CS50X final project, the small business manager. Thank you so much for being here. This is what we got so far. We're working on the transactions page right now, so it's pretty cool. Wrote this all from scratch in Python, so yeah, we're teaching ourselves a lot here. Thanks for joining me. How are you doing? Okay, so let's see, these are the functions we need to write. So let's go ahead and do so. Hey Hatev, I appreciate you coming in. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Thank you so much for joining me. How's it going? Awesome for you to chime in. I haven't heard that name before in the chat. Appreciate you for coming in, man. So sale platform. It's an add transaction. Okay. So let's do this check transaction platform. So in the check transaction platform, right here, we're doing that on the business. So in the business class, let's come here and let's write a function here, right? Check functions. So def check transaction platform, right? So this is going to be given self, and we're going to be given a transaction platform, the form of a stir. Okay, so next we're going to be... Sweet, Tam, hey, thank you. I appreciate that. What you been doing? How has it been going with you, man? Check transaction platform. So, if transaction platform in self.transaction platforms return transaction platform, else return raise value error with invalid invalid transaction platform. Right. So then we'll say that'll raise that value error. Okay. So then we check transaction platform, given that in the business, except for value error, status failed, not item amount. Invalid transaction platform, like so. Okay. I don't know. Okay, failed, invalid transaction platform. Okay, now we need to do something similar. So def check transportation method given self and a transportation method, right? We're going to then so same thing basically, right? If transportation method in self.transportation methods return the transportation method back, else raise a value error saying invalid transportation method, right? So that'll raise that there for invalid transportation methods. So if you get a value error, you configure this and return false on that action event. So we check cost, we transportation charge equals to that error provided. Okay, cool. So that's so done. Done. Now we'll move on to this one. Check duplicate transaction. So this is going to be into the DB manager class, right? So we have a check item ID here. Now we're going to have a check duplicate transaction given self and a an item ID in the form of a stir and a item amount. Well, you just want to check for an item ID. You can't sell an invalid item. We have a check item ID here that just makes sure the item ID is a valid item in the database. But then the check duplicate transaction, you can't sell a repeated item. So that's our only check for on this. Hey Tim, what's going on? Yeah, I am early today. We're doing a grind on the project, putting in some work here, really grinding away here. So we're gonna have to check duplicate transaction here, which is gonna be, so this is the database manager. So we're gonna have to fetch, right? So let's do this. Duplicate transaction is equal to self.db.execute. We're going to go select all from transactions where item ID is equal to this, and we'll put in here the tuple given the item ID, and we have to put in a comma afterwards. So that'll select that. We're going to fetch all here, right? Because this should fetch all. I mean, it should fetch one, but it's whatever, doesn't matter. And then, right, so that's the duplicate transaction. So if a duplicate transaction, if you have one, so I was checking duplicates of these other ones, what was I returning? They're returning the duplicate or returning false back to this. So we'll do this. Check duplicate transaction. So we'll say if duplicate transaction, return duplicate action, else we're going to raise a value error. So this if return duplicate transaction, if duplicate transaction, else raise a value error item I'll say here f string item item ID okay. if duplicate transaction, return duplicate, else raise a value error. Oh, did I have to have a thing? I could have done that probably. Hold on. Maybe not. So if you have a duplicate, return the duplicate, else raise value error for item ID already sold. Right. So you select all in the transactions database if it's there. So I'm gonna first also check this. So I'm gonna go like this. I want to make sure the check status. So we'll need to check item status. So let's go up here. Let's add in inventory functions. Let's go ahead and do def check item status. Right, given self. We'll then say item status is equal to self.db.execute quote select status from inventory where item where ID equals to this, right? I'll do item ID like so. We'll also need to pass in item ID. Okay, so that will do that. And then this is going to return item status. So if item status, we're going to return it. Else we're going to raise a value error that this is, we'll say this, item ID equal to this, item ID there's no status. Okay, so if item status will return it, so we'll need to fetch all on this. Select the status from inventory where ID is equal to this. So if we go to our database here, right, we go to inventory, we have a status. This will select that status and return it back to us, given the ID of what was passed in. So what I'm going to do here is now I'm going to say, in this check for duplicate as well, we're going to say try already sold item status is equal to self.check item status right? And then this will say, given the item ID of item ID that was passed in here. If this will return the status to us of that item, accept a value error as E. Oh shoot. Capital X stuck. So this is the check duplicate. Except for value error as E, raise value error E. Let's pass this all the way back. Right? Cool. So then that'll pass that back to that error from the check item status back to that function here for check duplicate transaction, except for value error. So get item status. Inventory, which won't happen. So if item status not equal to quote is equal to or in the following, right? For sale or quote sold, we're going to raise a value error here and say this as well. Right, so this will raise the value error here where it's already sold, right? It'll first check the item status. If somehow the item status doesn't change somewhere and it remains as inventory, but we do have it as a transaction, we'll have a backup to check it for a transaction, basically. So this is raise value error. So we'll do this actually. So we'll say match item status case quote for sale or so case case for sale, we raise the value error. Item is, so you can sell a for sale item. You can't sell an inventory item. So the check item ID should honestly do that though. So this is match case item status case for sale. We raise the value error. The item ID is already sold. This says that it has no status, right? match case status check, case quote for sale, raise value error item sold. No, let's just go back to our old format, I guess. So items already sold. If it's for sale, if the status of the item is sold, so for sale, if it's quote sold. We'll raise is already sold. Item ID equal to this already sold. It's already sold. Okay, what do we, I'm getting a little bit lost here. No, I don't think so. We still have quite a long ways to go. We're only about 60% done so far. It's pretty a big project for a final beginner course project, I guess, but we're not beginners, so I do want to make something a little bit more elaborate and more worthwhile, and potentially that a lot of other people could use as well, rather than just kind of a simple little web app that'll just never be used again, lost in the GitHub archive. Okay, so we're checking the item status, right? If the item ID comes back for that status as invalid, then we raise that and pass that back here, right? Else, if we get through, if the status is equal to sold, then we raise the value error, right? That the item's already sold, right? So it has to have a for sale or inventory status. Now it should technically not be allowed to make a sale if it's not listed for sale yet, but I'm not sure. So if item status is already sold, so I'll do this. Yeah, let's do the match case. What am I doing? Match item status case sold, raise value error, items already sold, case quote for sale, we raise value error, that the item ID is not listed for sale. It's not yet listed. It's not for sale. Thank you. I really appreciate that verse, Sanas. Thank you so much. Those are such kind words. Yeah, I've been teaching myself how to code for about 8, coming up on, I guess, 9 months now. Now that we're at the end of March. I started at the beginning of June 2024. I took very part-time over the summer, completing Harvard CS50P. It's very challenging as a beginner with no experience reading any code whatsoever. Nah, I don't even know really much about Morse code, let alone code. So I really, grinded through taking that course, slowly over the summer, and then started making projects after that. We read Python Crash Course live on the channel. That's when I made the channel to help document my progress and continue on. And then we started reading Fluent Python as well as DSA in Python. We're halfway through DSA and about 10th of the way through Fluent. And then we are just been making projects, and then we have taken Harvard CS50X, which we are on the final project for, and we're going to use this project that we've been making for a little while now as our final project. So this is currently our second iteration where we are now having a GUI, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. Just one second. I got to just make sure I don't have any errors here. And then so it'll run here. Just give me 1 second. We're almost there. So if it's sold, we'll raise the value error that the item is already for sold. If it's for sale, we'll raise that it's for sale. In the case that it is, quote, sold. So this is a inventory. It'll raise this. But I don't know if I want to do this yet because I don't have currently an option to convert items into for sale, which is a problem. All right, so inventory. So maybe I shouldn't do this yet. Let's just do this. Match case sold. I'm going to comment out this. We don't have this yet. I'm going to put a doc string here and say, need a way to convert to for sale status first. Why is that like that? All right. So then in the case, the item status to be so I'm going to go like this. I'm going to comment out all this then. Take this, move this down, put that there. So then I'll just say if item status is sold, then you can't do it yet. All right, we're going to raise this value. So we'll bypass this for now. Okay, so it's sold. It's already sold, right? Else we can continue. So now this is just a preliminary check, right? So this initial check is supposed to check if it was a duplicate transaction within the transactions page. But maybe that there is a condition where a transaction got through without actually converting the status of the item to sold. So we want to first query the inventory to make sure that item has a status of inventory, or it should be for sale, but I don't have that currently implemented. So it should be, a status of for sale. And then if it does not, if it has a status of sold, then we raise this error saying no. So then we'll catch that here, right? So on the check duplicate transaction here. So then we fetch one of the item ID. So then we try to execute from the transactions on that transaction. See if we already have a transaction for that item ID, and then we return the transaction back. So now we can go back over here and say this: try to do this query for the duplicate transaction, except for a value error as E, where then we'll convert this commit transactions label and then return false, right? Failed, and then we'll say for here, we'll just put in the error as status failed, the error given, exclamation point, and then return false. If we get past this try and accept, we say if duplicate transaction, meaning that so you have data in here. So if you were able to find a duplicate transaction, right? Oh, hold on. So the item's already sold and fail out of the ad. Right? So then this returns back a duplicate transaction if there was one. We'll populate the matrix. So, okay, right. Okay. Right, so now if a duplicate transaction is found, we'll populate it, right? So now we need, okay, so now we have this done. Now we have to do populate. So now this will be here. Populate transactions matrix via duplicate. Right? So duplicate transaction return false. So then in this function here, let's go to our inventory tab. Let's bring this over and let's see what we do for this one via duplicate. So we passed in the duplicate transaction. We say if duplicate transaction right, self.clear transactions matrix. We say for transaction so this will return 1 back to us, right? Because you can have multiple on transactions for a certain item. So you say, let's just say duplicate transaction equals list on duplicate transaction. We then say that, so our transactions, what items are money based? So what items are money based? So I load here. Indexes here. Yeah. So we take these indexes, right? We say this here. Oop. This is duplicate transaction here and here. We convert it cents to dollars. And then we populate this. Like so. And return true at the end. Else we return false here. So if we have a duplicate transaction, we're going to go ahead and populate the matrix transaction with that duplicate after clearing it. So do we have the clear in there? Yes, we do. Okay. So I think populate now is done. Right? And so that will then, in the add, okay, so now that'll populate that and return false, meaning that you populated with a duplicate transaction found. So I didn't grab this though. In the populate, I need this error. Right, so we'll say, where's the label here? This thing. So self.commit transaction label status failed. What did I say here? Failed duplicate item. Item. Duplicate transaction. Return true. Right there, at the end of that, return true. It failed, it populated via duplicate. So then in the add transactions here, now we call on the database add to transactions. So here's our database manager class. We have add transaction to transactions here. So we have insert into transactions, all of these columns, right? So our columns for transactions are ID, our date, item ID, item amount, sale platform. So date, item ID, item amount, sale platform, transaction platform. So I do have sale platform in there. That's what it's called. Okay. This needs to say sale platform. Sale platform.
Take care of things. Keep your eyes and ears open.
Sale platform. What? Pause. What was that song right there? Let's turn this up. So this will say sale platform. Right? So now if we insert into date, item ID, item amount, sale platform, transportation method, transportation charge, fee, discount, note, right? What are we going to add in here? Values of, how many are there here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're going to just take these values here, copy, and paste them into a tuple right here. Boom. Hey AJ, hey Edwards, what's going on? Tim, I'm not sure if we're gonna do leak code today. Maybe we'll take a stab at one later tonight. I really just wanted to work on the project here, get some real good progress on it. get the transactions page working. Okay, so right, we're inserting into transactions the date, item ID, item amount, platform with all of those values. And then we are, right, so then what about these other ones? What happens on these ones? So on add inventory, add all those, con commit, return true, database not connected. Right, let's add expense to expenses, does the same thing. If self.db and self.con. Okay, so I have to do that. So if self.db and self.con, we'll do this. Right, and then we will say else right, database not connected. Okay, let's try this now. Transaction. So platform. All right, let's try this now. Let's see if all that code works. And now, and then one last check here. We need to go to the expenses. Let's just check this one. Let's go to the add here. I just add, change the, I refresh. So what's the difference between populate matrix versus load all and refresh? So load all, just loads all. Refresh, I think just changes the status labels of both of them. Okay, so we call, let's go to the inventory tab. So we call add transaction to transactions right here. We then call self.refresh transactions matrix. We call then self, we do the commit transaction label as success, status success transaction committed. It's committed with 2 T's. Two T's. Okay. And then we return true from here. So now we just need to write this refresh transactions matrix. So it'll be very similar to the one before here. So we call load on value. Let's just take this. So value equals load all transactions matrix. And then if value is true, right, meaning that you were successful in having values in there, because load all will, if transactions, right? It'll return, else it'll return false, that there's no transactions there. If it's true, we will change the commit status label search transactions. Status message label. Status refresh, status no transactions. Right, return false. Okay, so now I think we're ready. Let's try it out here. Okay, no errors. Wow, no error. Here we go. Okay, so let's see here. We should be able to now go to our transaction and add a transaction here. Let's try it. Anyone want to be our first transaction? Sorry, I gotta get caught up on the chats here. Edwards, hey dude, yeah, what's going on, man? Yeah, I like the stream, you guys. Thank you, AJ. You're awesome, dude. 5K subs challenge. Driving across the country in RV. Bruh. Programming a calc. Asking ChatGPT for spelling. Sorry. My fault. You guys are funny. Okay, let's do this. 2025-03-30. Item ID 1. Item amount. I'm scared. Okay, item amount is, let's say we sold this for $20. We have Instagram. Let's say it was shipping. Transportation charge was $5. Fee was 0. Discount was 0. No note. We'll say test. No, failed. Dang it. Unexpected keyword item amount. Okay, so in my online 250 in my DB manager class. No, I'm not on DB manager class of. Item ID. Oh, I'm still passing in an amount. So in the here, the check duplicate. Yeah, I don't want to pass in an amount here. Okay, let's try this again. Quit. Apply. Run. Okay. Transactions 2025-03-30. Item ID is 1. We're gonna sell the first item, distracted funny. Item amount is 20. We sold it for. Sale platform is Instagram. Method, shipping, transportation charge 5. Fee 0. Test. All right, come on. No. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I have a space. Okay, so my status, check item status function here in the DB manager. Item status. Here. There. Okay, let's try this again. Here we go. Ugh, I gotta type this in every single time. I should probably learn how to write tests better, but oh well. 2025-03-30, item IDs 1, amount 20, sale platform, Instagram, shipping 500, note, test. No! Oh, shoot. Okay, so we have to item ID tuple like that. Get rid of that. I don't like how it's formatted like that. There we go. Okay, now let's try it again. Gosh. We'll get it sooner or later, guys. $60K, bro, chill. No, I did not. The car was just about $20K. It was a really good deal. For the market at least. The prices are gonna jump and she needed a car. We did not buy a $60K car yesterday. No way would I ever buy a $60,000 car. Smarter than that. Item ID, item amount 20, sale platform, Instagram, shipping, distribution charge, 5, fee 00, note, test, commit. Failure, true, already sold. Uh-oh. Okay, so let's put in the transactions tab, we're getting a true already sold message. So in the DB manager, in the check duplicate, we're getting this. Oh, here, true already sold. Item ID is a crap. My used car hasn't appreciated according to KBB in 4 years. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, right. It's nuts. 4 years, it's gone up and stayed. Yeah, I'm bad at this sucks. I'm bad at doing testing for sure. So we're saying it's already sold. True is already sold. We're passing an item ID on check ID. Check duplicate. Give an item ID. True already sold. Status. So this is passing back here. Status failed. True already sold here. Why is that saying status true? item ID that's being passed in here. Select all from transactions where item ID is equal to blank, given the item ID. You're checking for duplicate by sorry. Professor used to make us write 10 lines minimum for our tests for our code. Should be making functions to test each function to make sure he's making here. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's just first solve this problem, then we can figure out some tests. So right now we're saying we're raising a value error that the item ID already sold. Right? Meaning that duplicate transactions, this is coming back as, oh, so we don't want to raise, if we found a duplicate transaction, you return that. Else, we don't want to raise a value error. You just return none. Right? So then, if we get a duplicate transaction here, right? If we get a duplicate transaction, this returns none. Status failed. So we try to get a duplicate transaction from the database via the item number. Okay, so then we say, if a duplicate transaction, do this, else if none, then we can find, right? You populate it via the duplicate transaction. Okay, so I think that'll be okay. So let's go 2025-03-30, item ID is 1, amount 20, sale platform, Instagram, shipping 500, note. It's gonna be test, right? Here we go. Come on, come on. No. It's okay. We're almost there. Has no method, transportation method. Okay, so let's go to our database. Transactions. Transportation charge. Okay. Let's close this. So let's go back here. DB manager class. And insert into transactions sale platform. Transportation charge fee discount note value. Okay. One more time here. This might be it. You guys believe in the cause? 2025-03-30. Item ID 1. Item amount 20. Sale platform, Instagram. Shipping. Charge is going to be 500 note test. Come on, baby. Oh. 8 values for 9 columns. Oh, come on, shoot. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Date. Eight values for 9 columns. Huh. This 9 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What? Let's go to our transactions. Date, description. Date, item ID. 1, 2, 3, 10. Oh, sale platform? No. Yeah, if you move on and mark a function on working when it's actually broken, you're gonna wait to jump off a bridge trying to figure out which function isn't working. Yeah. My favorite is a function doesn't break and doesn't work how you expect it, so you get random ass errors. Who's the hero who's gonna read all this? Okay, so what's going on here? Nine. That's why. Sorry. Just needed another question mark. Okay, here we go. Let's run it again. Transactions 2025-0330. Item ID 1. Item amount 20. Instagram. Shipping 500. Test. Come on, baby. Come to Mo. Yes! Written in a week, boys. No tests needed. No, I'm kidding. The anti-tester. All right, so now we have that being populated and as you can see, what's cool is the transaction total is dynamically being calculated via the SQL formula, right? So we have the date is being inserted properly. So we need to format this date a little bit better, make this date be a little bit wider. We can make the ID column smaller, right? Item amount, sale platform, shipping charge, fee. So we can make this fee 0. We can make the discount way smaller, and the transaction total way smaller. No, you guys are funny. You guys are hilarious. Okay, so now that success, transaction committed. So now let's try to commit the same exact transaction again. Let's see what happens. We should be getting an error here. Ready? Item 1 already exists. Item 1 already exists. What? So I have check date function. So if I go like ABC commit failed invalid date. So I have checks going on each of these, but now if I do this to commit the same transaction, I'm getting this error here that item 1 already exists. So I should be raising errors though. So why am I not? So right, it should be saying check date, check item ID, that went through, check cost. So here, this should be check for a duplicate transaction. So self.database, duplicate transaction item ID. Pi injection, what's that mean? Yeah. So why it should be raising this value error first though, via the item ID. So on the check duplicate transaction, we are getting the status of the item, except if we get a value error, we raise that value error as E, right? Which will be the invalid status, or doesn't have a status, right? Because the check status function is up here, will raise value error if it has no status, right? So if the status is sold, we raise a value error saying that the item ID is already sold. Else we go, right? So we check the status of the item first to make sure that it is not sold. So this will look like this. Def check already sold on self given an item ID, right? Try to get the item stat. We'll take this whole thing here, take that out of there, put this into its own function. Do this. Try item status except for value error, raise that. If item status is sold, raise that value, else we're going to return false. So if it's sold, we're going to return false, right? It's not sold. So then we're going to try duplicate transaction. So we tried to get a duplicate transaction, except for value as E. We raised that value up that was given from the check function, or the duplicate transaction function. But I wrote into this own check already sold function here. So I'll say try false. So we'll say already sold bool is equal to self.database.check already sold given the item ID. If already sold bool, we're going to say it failed and return false. Well, that'll raise the value error. So I have to say this actually. Try to get already sold except for a value error. As E or already sold bool equals false. No, so if already sold bool equals false, so raising the, no. So we're checking if the database is if it's already sold. We then, if it's already sold, we raise value errors, right, in every circumstance. Right? So that's fine. So we don't even need to capture the return value, right? As E, then we say here, like so, like that, failed. E, like so. Then we check if it's a duplicate item, right, via this. So check if it's a duplicate transaction. Select all from transactions where item ID is equal to this. Return it. If you get a duplicate transaction back, you populate the matrix with the duplicate transaction, return false. You don't get anything back, you add the transaction back. Let's see, fetch. Oh. Okay, so let's try this out now. App.py. Transactions. Let's add the duplicate here. 2025-0330. Item ID 1. Item amount 20. Sale platform. Instagram. Transportation method. Shipping. 500 test. Commit. Index out of range. On duplicate transaction. On index. Oh, shoot. So I'm getting to convert to charges are these 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. Seven, 8. 3, 6, 7, 8. here on the add transactions. Add it. We then populate the matrix. On the refresh, load all transactions. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Which index was it? Oh, so it tried to populate via the duplicate. Perfect. So it tried to populate via the duplicate. We got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 here. It tried to do the duplicate at those indexes. List index out of range. Hey Muna, I wanted to ask this question. We're hoping someone is knowledgeable about different CS programs. Would you recommend going to Northwestern, Emory, or UMD for CS, and why? I can't really provide input. I've never heard of that stuff, so sorry, man. Duplicate transaction. So we go index. For index and indexes, duplicate transaction on that index, cents to dollars. So which one is out of range? Transactions. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Eight. So let me go here. Let me say this. Print duplicate transaction here. Let me see what happens. (2025-03-31) item amount. Item amount. $20. Instagram shipping 500 node test. Line 316. Here. Why isn't it printing now? Because duplicate transaction is none. Ah, shoot. Oh, here. Here's the duplicate transaction that I printed. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, because it's a list of a tuple. Oh. So duplicate transaction. the list of a tuple. It only has an index of 0. So I need to go like this, duplicate transaction index of 0 on index. Since duplicate transaction index of 0 on index. Duplicate transaction index 0, 0. Index of 0. So let's just do this. Let's just go like this and add that loop back that we had in the other transaction in the other tab. So rather than doing this, let's just do this. Right, so we had
for relaxing times, make it Centauri time.
in here in the populate, the load all for transaction this here. So we'll say this. Populate gets duplicate transaction. Clear. Let's just take this. There. There. If duplicate transaction. So we pass in the duplicate. So we go over here onto the inventory tab. Pass in the duplicate. Let me see what they have for the duplicate. Populate via duplicate. If item, duplicate clear. No, not here. Yeah. Oh wait. Here. So if duplicate transaction. Okay, so this is what I did. So I'll say if duplicate transaction clear indexes for transaction and duplicate transaction. Transaction, we'll turn it to a list, index into it, convert, return, there. So now if we run app, quit, boom. Okay, if we go to transactions 2025-0331, item amount 20, sale, platform, Instagram, shipping 500, test, commit, status none, but it's not committing anything. Okay, that's good. So this is returning false, or populate. So this is calling if duplicate return false. So we need the status message though. So on the populate matrix via duplicate, we need the status message from here. Right there, and say status failed transaction, duplicate transaction. Right? So now if we run @pi, boom, transactions 2025-03-30, item ID 1, amount 20. We'll say Instagram, shipping 500, note, test, commit, fail, duplicate transaction. Nice. Appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys are awesome. Let me know what's going on with you guys. What are you guys working on? Feel free to, if you guys leave some like hearts in the chat, spam the hearts. I think it really helps YouTube to keep pushing our videos if people are engaging like with hearts or the emojis or whatever. So you guys are awesome. The duplicate transaction failed. So the thing is though, is we have item number 1. This shouldn't even get to this error though. So in the add items to add transaction, right? We get all the information, and then we start working on the duplication checks. So status failed from the check duplicate transaction on the database, which is here, which returns none. Else. Okay, so let's say we want to else okay, so we'll say this. No, we want to return none. And then say if duplicate transaction is none, oh, wait, no. This checks if there's a duplicate transaction, right? If the duplicate transaction, we return it back to us.
Little do we know,
to then
is actually a
populate the matrix.
is strategically located close to the Caribbean.
So then what about this? Check already sold.
Visitors can enjoy birding throughout the year.
Okay, so what I'm not doing now I need to convert the item to sold. Aaron, what's going on, dude? Thanks for joining me. Working on my quiz app. That sounds cool. Okay, so check for a duplicate transaction. So I just need to convert the, so hold on. So in the check already sold, if the item is already sold, you raise a value error. If it's not sold, you return false. Right, so we're calling check already sold here. It's already sold. So we just need to then get an item status. Well, I don't think I need to do this though, because right, I don't think I actually need to do this because I'm doing duplicate transactions. Check item ID. So duplicate transaction, calls check item ID, return true if it's a valid item ID. So found item. So check item ID is here. Oh, there we go. So this needs to be found ID. So that passes item ID in it. So then what we need to do, return item ID there back to the user. So we were checking the item ID to be valid. Select okay, select all from inventory where item, no, where ID, yeah, so inventory where item ID is done, we return the item ID back. So if you get a value error, the status failed, the item's already sold, or the invalid item ID. Equals quote item ID F there. Okay, so that'll get passed back to here to be placed into, and we'll return false. If we get an item ID back, we keep going, that it's valid. So then we check a duplicate via the duplicate function, right? All this does is it queries for select all where item ID is equal to item ID from transactions. If duplicate transaction, return duplicate transaction back. And then, right, we call so the duplicate transaction never actually raised the value error. So we don't need this. We get the duplicate. If there's a duplicate, return false. Right. Else we can go ahead and do this. Populate via duplicate, which will do that and fail. So now let's try to run. Okay, transactions, date 2025-0330, item ID is 1, transaction amount 20, sale platform, Instagram, shipping, charge 500, test, commit. Failed duplicate transaction, perfect. And then there it is. So now let's try to add in a non-duplicate. So let's make this a item ID. So is that, what is the check on the ID though? Is that what it's supposed to be outputting? Is there prelim? So check item ID returns invalid item ID. The check duplicate checks for transactions and makes sure there isn't a transaction with that current item ID. Okay, so then if I go into here and add in a new transaction for item ID 2 and commit that transaction, there it is. right? And then for that date, right? So then if I try to commit this, we'll get can't, failed, duplicate transaction, and it pulls up the 2. Now if I change this back to item ID 1, and if I change any of these amounts to 10 or 4 or whatever, Depop, delivery, no matter what, if I change the date 2025-03-20, even if I have as item 1, it should fail me here. Failed duplicate transaction. Perfect. Woo-hoo! Yes. All right, so now it's appropriately, registering that you cannot sell items that have already been transacted via that check there. That's what's the duplicate transaction, right? The duplicate transaction function is checking for just the item ID, which is querying our database for transactions under that item ID. So what we're failing to do though currently is we're failing to update that item that we transacted status to sold now that we transacted it, right? So what we'll do here is we'll need to call now on this call here, transaction committed, we'll need to also commit self.database.convert item status sold given the item ID, right? So what that'll do is we'll go into our database manager now, and in our inventory functions, so this will be a transaction function rather, I guess, because it is. So def convert item status sold given self item ID and a stir. Hey, what was that?
I went to Alameda. Then I went to the gym.
You left?
I went to 30 minutes away. I went to Alameda.
In your new whip?
I went.
You take good care of it?
You let them know I got a new whip?
Yeah, I let them know you got a new car. They thought you bought a $60,000 car. I don't know where that guy came from.
Yeah, I did.
I don't know where that came
I
from.
did. Mama's got money.
Mama's got money.
My Porsche. Mama got a Porsche.
Yeah. Yeah, Steven, yeah, you can accept different error values from one try block. Yeah, exactly. I'm specifically, though, raising these custom errors myself, so I'm catching them from these, process functions, basically. But yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for your comment, Steven. Appreciate you for jumping in. We're making the Small Business Manager right now. This is our CS50X final project. I've been teaching myself how to code for about 8-9 months now, from scratch, just the online resources to teach myself and document in my fingers. Tim, I meant to type 2, yeah. He meant to type 2. He doesn't think you're that rich. Sorry, Gina. Not 60,000. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, funny enough, my girlfriend, we were on vacation a few weeks back, and her car got stolen and by some crackhead, and we got him on the Ring camera, like tweaking out on the nodding off on the porch, and he busted in and stole her keys and took the car with
7:42 p.m.
He stole the car, and then we found it a few days later in a ditch. The police did, and so we just got our insurance payout. We bought her a new car yesterday. Not a new car. It's a 2021, so it's newer, but yeah, it's a nice plug-in hybrid for her, and she's been living life. It's been fun for her. What kind of cars do you guys drive? Let me know what your guys' favorite car. You guys got a favorite brand, or what kind of cars do you like? I should post in the Discord. I'll post in the Discord the video of him nodding off. So join the Discord. I also have a Discord link down below where I provide all of my learning resources, like a roadmap from all the books that we read live on stream, to my notes on those books, to these programs that you see on my screen, to weekly updates and of the courses I take and everything. Premiere Hell, I'm writing an inventory editor in Python for Minecraft. That's super cool, dude. We played Minecraft just the other day. We lasted an hour in our hardcore world and got nodded off by a baby zombie. Dang. Yeah, what kind of cars do you guys like to drive? So we'll convert item status sold. So we'll go how to override values in a DB SQLite query. To override values, update table name, set column, update inventory, set price equal to ID. Okay. Okay, so we'll go self.db.execute quote update inventory. No, yeah, inventory. Set price. Set status equal to set status equal to sold, where item ID equals to quote for that ID. It's correct for overriding updating the status column and inventory. However, there are a few things to keep in mind. Ensure the item ID exists. So also in the add transactions, we have to commit, right? Well, we do commit. Okay, they're still there. Good. Okay, so then we'll have to do that same thing then before, right? Let's take this. Put down here. Oh shoot. Okay, so we say if self.db and self.con, we'll execute update sold where item ID equals that commit and then return true and then update that. So now let's go ahead and I want to go to my database manager thing and I want to delete from transactions. All right, let's run that. Okay, so now our transactions should be deleted. Perfect. So now, if I go to if I run this program, I think that'll be it for that. So transaction, let's go. Okay, we're gonna sell item number 1. So now, item number 1's status should change to sold, hopefully, right? Now we might have to call an update and refresh, but we'll see. We might need to call an update within this convert on that function, right? So let's go transactions. Let's transact item number 1, 2025-03-30. Item ID number 1. Item amount is going to be, we sold it for $20. A sale platform, Instagram. Transportation method, shipping. Transportation charge, $5. Fee was $0. Discount was $0. Right? So the note, this would be test. Let's commit. Boom. There's our transaction. Item ID is the first transaction. The date is in there. Item ID is 1. The item amount is 20. Instagram, shipping, 5. Fee, 0. 25 for the transaction total, which is item amount plus shipping charge less fee less discount equals transaction total. Now in inventory, item number 1 should be changed. No. Let's refresh. No. Oh, well, we're not converting item status sold here. Huh. No, that didn't change anything. Update inventory. Your function must get rid of a few potential issues. If the query fails due to not. Update inventory set status quote sold for item ID equals to blank. So let me try to add a transaction on an item that doesn't exist. Item ID 5. 20. Instagram. Shipping. Invalid. Okay, perfect. So it won't let you use item ID 5. If I do number 1, commit, duplicate, there it is. If I refresh. So then why is it not converting these? Convert item status sold. Given item ID. This returns true. While you're at it, post your jumper. I can post a video maybe if I find one of me in high school shooting. If you guys are here, leave a thumbs up on the stream. I really appreciate it. Sorry I haven't been chatting too much. I've been really focused on grinding through this project and staying focused here. But I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And just if you're working on stuff on the side, let me know what you're working on. And yeah. So we're adding the item, add transactions. Refreshing. Convert item status. So update inventory. Update inventory set status sold. Convert item status sold. True. Those didn't change at all. Right, so number 1 should be sold. working on exactly what you're doing, except for I'm putting the inventory back into the Bedrock database so I can save the UI back into the game. Oh, that's cool, dude. Awesome. That's really neat. We're working on something similar then. So my transaction isn't properly converting that inventory item to sold. I am trying to convert the status column for the ID. Oh, got you. I know why. This is inventory. There is no item ID column. It's ID. There we go. So now let's go back to our DB here. Run this so it clears out our transactions. Go app.py. Let's clear this. And let's run. Now let's go transactions 2025-03-30. Item ID 120. Sale amount, Instagram, shipping, transaction charge, let's say 5 fee of 5 and discount of 5. So this would be a total sale of a total charge amount of money received of $5, right? So this will be test. Commit. There it is. Next total is 15. Oh, sorry. 20 plus 5 minus 10, 15. So then we go to inventory, refresh, sold. Yes. Woohoo. Gotcha. Nice. So that's working appropriately. That's so cool. So now if we try to commit this same transaction, failed duplicate transaction, there it is. Let's convert number 2. Convert. Okay, we just sold item number 2. Let's go to inventory, refresh. Sold. Yes! Let's go. Now if we refresh, status refreshed. That's so cool. So now if we exit out, are still transactions are our transactions still there? Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, we got a working program here for transactions. We just need to do the search now, and then that is it for this page. For the most part, at least, until we find some other bugs. Woo! Nice. Okay. So then we do need to format these a little bit better, make the date column bigger. Right, so the date column, what's my date column in the inventory tab? When I populate, oh, it's going to be over here on this. So in the matrix, here we go. If heading is ID size, date purchased, we have min width of 95. So in the matrix here, so date needs to be not included here. Date needs to be included here at min width of 95. Right. We'll set the width to 100 at first. So ID, item ID, fee, quote, discount. I'll remove this discount here. Item amount also can be included in here. Okay, so now if we run this, so date's a little bit bigger now, ID is smaller. So what is my ID? Mean width 35, width. Let's make this like min width of 20. See how far that goes. That's perfect. Oh, that's the wrong column. Perfect for date. Item ID goes down like that. Item amount's fine. Perfect, that looks really good. That looks really good. All right, nice. So then can I call, the thing is my transactions tab, can I call self.parent .inventory tab? Can I do that? I have parent provided. So my transactions tab, I'm providing the notebook. Let's try it. Let's try this. So in the add here, on the convert, self.parent, no, is that really not a, see if we can access the parent that we provided. So let's say self.parent dot inventory tab, right? So inventory tab, which is inside of this parent of the notebook, dot refresh all inventory matrix. Or load. Like so. So now let's see if we can run that. Okay, no error. Right? Now let's see if we can convert item number 3 to sold, and it automatically refreshes without us having to do it. 2025-0330 3 for item ID, item amount 20, sale, Instagram, shipping 500, test. Commit. Notebook object has no attribute, inventory tab. So it was giving our notebook object, which is saved in tab control. So maybe I need to pass in the inventory tab to the transactions tab. like if I pass that in, I'll get access to all the functions in that inventory tab as well. So inventory tab equals to inventory tab. So then I'll go into here and call not self.parent but self.inventory tab dot load all inventory matrix. Then I'll have to go up here, remove self.parent, add in here inventory tab, and saves as an instance variable. Equals to inventory tab. Now on my add, I'm calling self.inventory tab dot load all matrix, so it automatically refresh. And now if I call this, boom, do transactions 2025-03-30 item ID 4 20 Instagram shipping 500 test, right? Inventory item ID 4 is still in inventory, right? So transactions commit. Yes! Woo! Yes! It automatically will, now we don't need to refresh. It's automatically going to update the inventory display because we passed in that auxiliary function. Yeah. Dude, that is so nice. Yes. Cool. So now the transactions effectively will convert those statuses live without having the user pressing refresh. I didn't have to press refresh to get that. Watch, I'll add an item here, 2025-03-30. Description will be, let's say this is Premiere. Right? Size is going to be a medium. Cost, let's say this costs 15. Add item. Boom, now it's in inventory. Go to transactions. Let's convert item number 5. As you can see, it's still in inventory. In inventory here, guys. Now transactions, commit. Boom. I didn't press refresh or anything. Boom. Sold. Yes! All right. That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? For the chicks, you know, and for those shorties, you know, slapping on their back, so good.
All right, cool. So now that's working appropriately. Nice. Awesome. Did they a little bit smaller? So now, dude, 80 is a little too small.
You know what time it is.
So we'll go 85, make the width be 90 at first. There we go. Perfect. I'm gonna set it to 85. Can you set a max width?
You know what time it is.
No. Why is it not? No pressure. Here's a little sample, 20-second give them my quiz app. Nice, dude. If you have a link, please post it in the Discord. I don't think YouTube allows links, unfortunately. So if you have a link, please post it in the Discord, which is down in the description here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I've created this entire program in Python from scratch. This is, I don't use, I'll use AI to help check like some errors or some bugs or something, but I don't use it to ever generate my code or functions. This is all my own code, my own design, my own structuring. Everything has just been trial and error and learning through Tkinter here. And so it's been really cool. So we have inventory and expenses, and then we have transactions, which are pulling those inventory item IDs and then appropriately converting those items to sold when a transaction takes place across that item ID. So it's really nice. It's really cool. And now, and then we have expenses that you can load in, and then you can search. So now we need to do the transaction search for a specific, item here, right? So it shouldn't be that hard considering that we've already got it in the inventory. So let's look here and do the, let's look here and see what that says. So okay. So in the transactions tab, when they press on the button to search for a transaction, right? Transaction search, which we currently don't have any function wrote for that right now. So that's our goal right now. And the popular matrix via search. Okay, here. This function here. That I wrote earlier. So I get a column via the search transactions filter and the search transactions entry. Right? If either of those are blank, right, we return false saying that there's a blank entry. We match column. So in the case of ID, we convert the value. Search transaction message status. Failed. Failed. Cost. So this is where we need to add in all our cases for these various. So you have ID, you can search for ID. Your next is your date. So we'll just go like this. So the cost is fine. So let's see here. The database manager has in it ID, which is here, date. So the date is going to be the next case. Right? So this is just quote date. Check date on there. Costs. See, I've already wrote a lot of these functions, so it's pretty easy to translate it over here. So this is going to be item ID. And this is going to be to self.database.check item ID, right? Which will check if it's a valid ID and return the ID back to us. Invalid item ID. Check item ID value. am I converting that to an integer after the fact? Why am I converting that to an integer after the fact? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, because cost does it on its own. Stir. Returns back cost and int. So I'm not sure why I'm converting to an int after that. So then I don't need to convert. Let's just check item ID. I need to convert this value to an integer off the jump. And value. Right, so that's item ID. Then item amount. It's going to be the same type of thing for checking cost. Oh, hold on. I want to keep the cost. This is going to be item amount though. Right. And then we're going to take this. I'll duplicate the date down. We'll make this item ID. Right. And then check. It's going to be self.database.check item ID on the value, except for value error. Need this guy there, status failed, invalid. So what does that raise? Invalid, so that does it, it's on its own. So this is going to be int on the item ID. Except for value error failed. Right. Item amount, we'll get a check cost, we convert it back to an integer. That does it on its own, except for value error. Cost, right? Perfect. So then sale platform. So we'll duplicate this down. This is gonna be sale platform. Try to go self.business.check sale platform. Check transactions platform. Sale platforms. Sale platform. If sale platform in sale platform Sale platform. Okay, so then if I go back in here, we have check sale platform. So this would be here, sale platform value, business check sale platform on the value, accept, make the status failed, E. Okay, next is transportation. Let's duplicate this down. Transportation. So where do I have this one at? Is this in the business class as well? Yes, checks transportation method. This is valued self.business.check transportation method on the value. Right. Except for value error, config E. Right, because that'll raise its own invalid transaction platform, invalid transportation method. Okay, so next is transportation charge. So it's going to be one of these costs again. So here, we'll paste that right here. So this is going to be transportation charge. Right, try value, check cost, failed, item, transportation charge equals an integer. This is going to be item amount equals integer. Okay. So then that takes care of that one. So then fee is going to be another one of these on, and then discount as well. So this is going to be fee, value, check cost, message invalid. And this will be for fee. This is going to be for discount. Right, check cost on the value. Discount. Right, and then transaction total. Right, and this will be cool. We don't have any more cases here. Fetch transactions. Search. So we have ID, date, item ID, item amount, sale platform, transportation charge, fee, discount, transactions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. and then note. The case of note, value would be so you don't need to do anything for the note. So found items is self.database fetch transactions. So here, so we have fetch inventory item search. We'll take this here, there, bring this out, down, hide that. Okay, well, we're gonna return inventory where. This is gonna be fetch transactions, column and value, fetch all, populate, matrix via search, here, like so. So if found transactions, self.clear transactions matrix, or found transaction right, so we transactions matrix tree, insert, success, transactions found, no transactions found. Okay. Perfect. So now that calls populate matrix via search and returns the values. Okay, now if we run app.py, okay, business object has no values, transaction platforms. Chetty White, you created that window in Python. That's dope, bro. I just started learning programming myself, but I'm learning Java. This program is mad cool, though I cannot lie. Can't wait till I understand enough to start doing this myself. Goat CS50X final project. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, I've been working on this one. I had it's been a long run, and I had a first iteration within a CLI environment that took me about 2 months. And then in the past, about 2.5 weeks, we've been able to whip this up because we had that first, structure to solidify our knowledge at the beginning. So I've just been working on this for a while now, just in terms of ideas and stuff. So, so the business transaction platforms. So business transaction platforms, sale platforms. Okay, so that's on line 107 of the transaction. Line 107, sale platforms. This is going to say Sale platforms. Sale platform. Sale platform. Self.platform. Okay. Now if we run this, cool. Transactions, now we should be able to search ID number 1. Yes. So it's not bringing up, oh wait, hold on. We're populating the wrong thing. So transactions, on the search here, we're populating the wrong information. So on the populate transactions matrix via search, we're calling found transactions. Self.database fetch transaction column value. Fetch transaction. From transactions where fetch all. There we go. So now if we run this, it should work. Transactions number 1 ID. Ready? Okay, now we're specifying ID number 1. So this will populate for just this value here. Ready? No. Ah. Okay, so line 375. I'm calling transactions for cents to dollars, which I shouldn't be doing because I need to populate the matrix via search, so I have to do the same format as this. So I need to go indexes right after the clear. Right, so here's indexes of these are the dollar amount indexes for transactions in found transactions. We convert that transaction to a list, and then we say for index in indexes, right? We're going to then create the transaction at that index, cents to dollars at transaction index, and then that'll say that's perfect. So now if we run appy search, boom, transactions, item ID number 1, and search, there she is. Woohoo! There is item ID number 1. So now if I search for item ID number 2, boom, there's item ID number 2 transaction. If I search for, let's say I want to search for that was the ID of the transaction. Now let's say I want to search for, did I sell item ID number 5 yet? Let's search. Oh, yep, I did. It's right there. Item ID is 5. Well, did I sell item ID 4 yet? Yes, I did. It's right there. Okay, you can also check that by going to inventory, going to item ID 4 and seeing status is sold as well, right? Then you have item amount. Let's search for item amount of, so I'm not convert. Okay, so I need to convert those as well. So the transportation charge and transaction totals aren't being converted cents to dollars either. Okay, so I want to insert the transaction prior. Right. Right, and then insert that transaction and then start the loop over again. So I need to back this up one space like that. What about a refresh or load? Yeah, that one's right. Okay, so now if I run appy here, transactions. Okay, now we're getting properly there now. So we've got a search item ID 1. It should still have that format. Perfect. 25, 5, 5, 15. Now we're converting properly our cents to dollars because I'm not using floats. I'm using a whole integer, so I don't want to use floats for rounding. Okay, now if I go date, let's look up for 2025-03-30, search. Boom, there they all are. Let's go item ID, let's search for item ID of 5, search. There's item ID of 5 right there. It happens to be ID of 5, but item amount, okay, let's say 20. Boom, there's all the 20s. Let's go, if I go, let's say 30, it should say fail, transactions not found. No transactions found. Yes! Now if we go sale platform, let's type in Instagram, search. There's all the Instagrams, right? Now if I type in Depop, there's none, right? No Depop sales yet. Transportation, let's type in shipping. There's all the shipping ones. Let's type in delivery. No deliveries, perfect. Let's type in transportation charge of $5, search. There it is. Let's type in the transportation fee of, let's say $5, well, search. There's a fee of $5 on 2 items. Let's say a fee of $0, search. There's 3 items with no fee. Let's say a discount of 5, search. Discount has to be 5. They're perfect. If I say a discount of ABC, search. Failed discount equals integer. Perfect. So now if I say 0 for the discount, boom, there's all the 0 discount items. Now for transaction total, if I give 25, search, pulls them all up. If I give 20, search, no transactions. If I give 15, there's all the 15s. Now if I go down to note, and I give a note of test, search, there's that. And if I give a note of an empty string, search, failed blank entry, you can't have a blank entry search. So maybe I should allow for a note blank entry search, right? So search here, let's go to the, here, right? So in the case of, so here, right here. So if column equals this or value equals this, well, what did I say my expense, right? Hold on. Or my ad. My ad has the same thing. So I said, if column is blank string or value, is it blank string? Either blank. So if the value is blank, see my expenses, hold on. I'm allowing for, what did I say? If column or column and value. That's what I said. So if column blank or column and value is blank. This will allow you to search for a blank value. Right, so now if we search transactions, item ID, we go no, we can search for search, failed, you need an integer here, okay, but we can search for a note of a blank and get it for no transactions found. So I say note, test, search, refresh. They all have notes, right? So if I give a transaction 2025-03 well, I don't have any more inventory to convert, right? So if I go item number 6, try that commit, bank entry 20, 0, Instagram shipping 20, 0, 0, no note, commit, failed, invalid ID. So I go date 2025-0330, test, medium, cost, let's say this is 20, ads. Now we have item number 6 there. Now we can do this transaction, commit. We refresh, commit. Oh, invalid date, sorry. 30. Commit. There's the transaction. No note. Now I can search for a blank note. Boom, there it comes up. Yeah. All right, you guys, thanks so much for joining me today. We successfully implemented and completed the commit transactions, or the transactions page in general. We have the ability to refresh the page. We have the ability to commit transactions. You cannot commit duplicate transactions, and you can also not commit items that don't exist in the inventory itself. You can then you can also not commit items that are already in a sold status. So if I try to commit item number 6 again, commit, failed, duplicate transaction. So you cannot resell items that have already been transacted. Maybe I should indicate a reference to the actual status, but it's kind of okay. So if we refresh here, and then we try to commit number 7, which isn't available in the inventory, you commit, it failed, invalid, item ID 7, right? Doesn't exist. And then you can successfully, so right, you're not allowed to commit duplicate transactions across an item ID. You can only sell an item once. And then you can also just not commit duplicate transactions in general. Like if I try to sell 6, it'll just be that duplicate, right? Based on that item ID. And then we can also search for specific data rows or multiple data rows via a filter here, so we can specify the column and then a value inside of that column to then search for. So we can go for the item ID of 5 and search, and the item ID here in the third column is 5, and it pulled up that item, and then we can just refresh, and there's all of our transactions again. So this is a really, really cool program we've got going on so far. That completed the inventory, expenses, and transactions pages. Everything is working appropriately, and when you commit a transaction for an item, it's already automatically updating the status and displaying it as so. I didn't have to refresh here and convert this to sold on the refresh. It automatically refreshed because I'm passing in the inventory tab into the transactions tab itself, and then using its method of the refresh to call when I actually do this ad. So it's really cool. So now what we need to do is we'll cross correlate our, that information. So what we'll do is we'll take the transaction, right? We'll take this total transaction amount, or we'll take the sale amount basically, right? Which is this $20, and we'll less it from its cost, right? Which is, in this case for item number 1 is $14.26, and then the income statement will then show you how much income was generated from that. So actually what it would be your transaction. So it would be your item amount plus the transportation charge, less fees, less discounts, equals a transaction total, less your cost of good would equal your income statement for that inventory asset specifically. And then we would display each of the income per asset or something, or just in general for the year or whatnot. I need to talk to my dad, who's a CPA, and get his opinion on how I should set up these tabs given our current structure. But it's really, really cool. And then in the settings tab will allow the user to be able to edit the name of the business, as this test name indicates up here. I have that happening via a business class here, which houses the name of the business, the expense categories, expense methods, the sale platforms, and the transportation methods, which these are all additional data, customized to the business itself. Now in the settings folder or the settings tab, they will be able to add additional or edit these parameters to be customized for them. And then what's happening is I'm loading and reading these off JSON so that they are saved within the overall directory of the structure. So really cool. What we got going on so far. A lot of moving parts, but I've done a lot of work to just keep everything really organized so far between each of its files and importing everything and passing things in appropriately. So really trying our best to stay organized. And this is what we have so far, is a working about I'd say we're about 75% done. The settings page will be really simple, but the income statement and balance sheet, that's the remaining 25 or 30% of this program. And then our CS50X final project is done. So hopefully within like the next, I'd say 2 weeks, we can finish this project on and off. For those that don't know, I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry, and I work every day from a 9-to-5 job as a formulation chemist. I graduated back in college in 2021, and I got a job ever since then out of college. So I really appreciate you guys joining me and hanging out with me today. I stream every single day around 7 p.m. Please leave a thumbs up on the stream if you enjoy the live stream content. I do leak code problems and do reading normally, but on today's Sunday, I really just wanted to put in a solid grind session. The 3 hours that was needed to just wrap up this entire page for the transactions tab, and that was successful. So anyways, you guys, we are done with this for today. We will come back tomorrow with our normal learning, where we'll start off and warm up with some reading in DSA or in Fluent Python. I believe we're about to learn about NumPy in Fluent Python, so be here tomorrow for that, as well as continue on with leak code, where we're going to do, I believe it's the symmetrical problem. We're going to do leak code problem number 101, symmetric tree, right? So we'll accomplish that one tomorrow. So go ahead and take a preview on symmetric tree if you guys aren't familiar with it. Get some information with it so that we can be ready to tackle it tomorrow together on stream. And then this one doesn't seem too hard though from what we've done so far with trees. But anyways, we'll take a stab at that tomorrow. I'm gonna go hang out with the rest of my evening with my lady friend, and potentially we'll be back maybe late night. No, it's a 50% shot if I come back late night for another stream for a part 2 after hours. So and maybe we'll play Minecraft or something and just hang out. But anyways, you guys, sorry for my ramble. Thanks so much for being here. Chetty White, Charlie, you're awesome. Tim, thanks so much for coming. Aaron, Premier, you're awesome. AJ, Muna, Steven, really appreciate you guys showing support and hanging out with me for as much time as you did. Edwards, Jaws, obviously Tim, you guys are awesome. Mahan, everybody. All right, let me go ahead. I think someone sent something on the Discord. Oh, here. Create a quiz. Waiting room. Oh, nice. So you have like a live quiz thing. That's cool. So you can sync it up with multiple people. Oh, sick. That's awesome, Aaron. That's so cool. I really like this. That's so cool. Only if you did Quizlet before Quizlet. You had the right idea here, man. All right, yeah. See ya, AJ. Yeah, this is the end of the stream. We waited 3 hours today. We finished the transactions tab. Let me go ahead and commit this up. So we get credit for it for our daily commits here. Finalized transactions tab. Cool. So this is what we currently have, guys, is a working inventory, expenses, and transactions, which effectively communicates with our inventory appropriately, converting the statuses into sold for transactions that took place across those item IDs. So this is really awesome. We'll be back. Sometimes I wish I was 20 years old in like 2004, we'd be cooking, yeah, right? Dude, I was thinking there's a ton of times where I was like doing things kind of like ahead of the curve in terms of, but I kind of just like faded out. For example, I like started, buying some Pokemon card packs with my friend back in like my freshman year of high school just for fun. And if I would have saved those packs and pulls that I had, those, rather than opening them and whatnot, those were probably worth like 10x right now. I also, was like building PCs and computers back when I was like in like elementary school. So if I would have just bought NVIDIA stock rather than NVIDIA graphics cards back then, I would have been so solid right now. If I, there's a couple of instances where I was like, man, I was really ahead of the curve. Why didn't I just do something about it? So this is us doing something about it. I know that programming is, having under some fire with AI, but I really, like I said, I think those that enjoy programming will prevail, and the people that are scared of AI are the people that don't actually enjoy it and are worried, about the competition. But those that actually truly enjoy the process of coding and programming will prevail, as it's not going anywhere. So should have bought Zoom stock. Yeah, exactly. There's so many instances. Yeah, AJ, I definitely need some more Git. I just know the basics. Git add all, git commit, push, send it off. Anyways, you guys, leave stuff in the Discord for me to look at. I know I'm really kind of bad about it. It's just really hard to get, do stuff when we're trying to do so much already with these projects and everything. I should have bought a house I should have bought a house when I was, 1965. But I'm really trying my best to learn everything. It's just it just seems like the light at the end of the tunnel is so vast and never ending that it gets very daunting to dive into new stuff. So I'm really just, once we finish the CS50X course, get this project done, I really want to, like I've been saying, dive into more math, dive into more Git courses, more actual fundamentals and hardware of programming and stuff, because we've got the general gist of like syntax and the fact that we're able to make a program like this and teach ourselves to Kinter and these third-party libraries and stuff pretty quickly, like within like a week. We learned to Kinter in like 2 days. So it was pretty, like, it's pretty, honestly eye-opening that I was able to teach myself that fairly quickly. And so I really want to dive deeper into more lower level things, more math, to just further then apply those with my fluency in Python so far, and then obviously keep improving with the Fluent Python books and stuff. But I think kind of like our dude, not gonna lie, I don't know if this project will ever be done. Seems like something you'll work on and off for a while. Yeah, that's true, right? I'll be kind of adding like, little features here and there, but I think that there will get to a point for sure when I'll be able to turn it in and submit it, right? So it's definitely a large scale project that has a lot of like, applicability for other users, which is really cool. I think that a lot of other people that are the small business entrepreneurs will really find something like this useful, rather than having to use like Excel and do it all themselves. They'll just have a one-stop shop, free open source program for them to use, free of terms, obviously under the certain licensing, to use and to have fun with. And I'm not going to charge anything for this or whatnot. I want it to be free, just because I personally would want a tool like this to be free. I have put in a lot of work, but that's kind of like an investment into, I'm going to be definitely using this on my resume. This is a huge, project for my current abilities and what I've done. I've put in a lot of time into it, and it does have a lot of real world application for making money, right, for people, which is cool. And like tracking and assisting in that process. But yeah, AJ Brady, there's definitely probably features we could continue to add, and it could really turn into a whole elaborate, not company, but just like a side hustle almost that we could do. And I really want to, like I said, get it to that working 1.0 where we submit it for the CS50X final project, and then I'll open it up to like open source and doing pull requests for the chat members and for the subscribers to also contribute and whatever they would like to add into it. Or maybe we could branch off from the 1.0 and create a new branch and just develop a community version or something. I think would be cool. I know that there's a lot of people that do that for certain repos that are out there. But anywho, I really appreciate you guys joining me. But yes, AJ, I do want to get into Git, more Git knowledge, more, hardware, math, understanding, binary a lot better, becoming fluent in understanding, binary bits and bytes and representations of characters and numbers and data in general, all that jazz. I just not a lot of time. It seems like it just keeps flying by, you guys. We're already done with March here. Tomorrow's the last day of March, and we have been, it it seems like we just started the CS50X course back. We started January 1st and we're already done with March. So it really just goes to show you guys, if you just commit to something, the time will go by, and if you just have to stay committed, and in 3 months, you look back and you say, wow, I actually really did come a far way from where I started. And, it's really quite, rewarding. But anyways, that's enough of my ramble. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Please join the Discord and subscribe, follow along, leave a like on the stream if you're still here, part of the late night crew. It honestly really, really helps. YouTube has kind of been, I think, stalling out our suggestions, as we used to get like 500 to 1,000 views a stream, and now we're I think we're just reached our target audience now, and we kind of have a community of people that keep coming back in to kind of give us that 200 mark, which is fine. It's all about just the learning anyways, but it always helps to just meet new people. But I appreciate you guys joining me and helping me out today. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.